everyone, and welcome to episode number 67 of the PE Geek Podcast. And as always, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Now, these are my favorite episodes, particularly when we get to introduce Australians. Now, not that I have a thing against people from other countries, but my Australian compatriots are doing some amazing work. And today we have none other than Miss Physical Education herself. Christina, how are you?
Thank you, Jared. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah,
it's great to be here, and so thank you.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. So whereabouts are you joining us from at the moment?
At the moment, I'm from Melbourne, down in Victoria, and I've just been my home place for the last 31 years, and I've been teaching in Melbourne as well, down in the western suburbs and now in the northern suburbs of Melbourne. I started out at Taylors Hill Primary School for 6 years, and I started as a graduate, and I was lucky enough to build the culture there as we opened up the school, and I was there from day one. And last year, I decided it was time to move on and develop my learnings even more, and now I'm at Aiken Creek Primary School, which is in Craigieburn.
Awesome. So, I mean, you're the absolute epitome of someone who, absolutely understands the power of being connected and working with other teachers and, part of the Aussie Phys Ed wave of innovations and things that are happening. And, I mean, I absolutely applaud you for that. But, can you think right back to the beginning when you had that first idea of wanting to be a Phys Ed teacher? Do you remember what sparked that, or was there a moment? Or?
Well, I must admit, when I was in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I know, I wanted to do something in sports, something with the kids, but I just never had the, the marks, the motivation in a way to think, what am I going to do? So I went back into TAFE and I did a 2-year course in sports development, and I went the back way into uni and finally got into Bachelor of Education at Victoria University, and I studied there for 4 years. And I was lucky enough to get a position at Taylors Hill. But in terms of that making that connection, I had no idea what was out there, no idea. And I had no idea that, say, about 7 years later, that I'll be speaking to the PE Geek, to you, Jared, and actually really making a difference, not just to my students, but to the rest of the teachers around the world, and just inspire them. But yeah, I love it. I love what I do. I love the connections that I make every day, whether it be with the Aussie Phys Ed or whether it be just other Phys Ed and generalist teachers around the world, and to see how can I take their learning and knowledge into my teaching. So it's just brilliant because every day something new pops up thinking, oh, wow, that's brilliant. That's simple. And that's just fantastic. And that's just all by connections. And you've got to get yourself out of that comfort zone to put yourself out there.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It is a comfort zone thing initially, isn't it? Like, you're worried that if you're going to be connecting, that maybe you say or do something that people don't agree with. But, I mean, everyone's got a different and unique perspective. So that's the first thing that everyone can offer. And there's so much value to it, like you've said.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to... It's hard to actually realize it until you do it. Someone just recently mentioned to me, it's sort of like the Matrix. You don't know what the Matrix is until you're part of the Matrix.
That's right. Absolutely. And that's what it is. You have to give it a go, because there's no point just sitting there waiting for something to happen. You've got to get out there. You've got to make a difference. If it doesn't work out, well, hey, that's okay. Why didn't it work out? How can I change it for next time? Or where do I go to ask for some help and feedback? It's okay.
Yeah.
That's what I always think. It's okay to be to have a go, and if things don't go your way, well, try again.
So, what about your current school and the previous school that you were at? Was there other Phys Ed teachers in the department, or is it just you as a specialist, or how was that structured?
Yes, so my old school, I was the only PE teacher until probably about 2 years ago, where we had part-time PE teachers and part-time specialists as our numbers increased. And so I was running the PE department, and I was also running the local district school sports Victoria within our district. and that kept me busy, absolutely busy, and I loved it. And then now moving on to my new school, there are 2 full-time PE teachers, which is great because we've got just over 900 students, and so this enables us to work together and to create that quality physical education program. I'm still involved with School Sport Victoria in helping out with our district at the moment. So at the moment there's 2 of us, and this is the first time that I've worked with a full-time PE teacher as a team teaching process. And, you get your challenges, but the main thing is you've got to collaborate together. And if you don't collaborate, there's an issue, not just for you, but for the students who are there wanting to learn all about, the physical activity, the health side of education as well. So it's been a great challenge, a really a rewarding challenge as well. At the moment it's just the 2 of us, and
So definitely a new world. And I mean, I mentioned it because lots of primary schools, they do only have one sort of specialist, don't they? That's not uncommon. And that's lots of elementary schools, and that's just more emphasis as to why people, need to go and find and get connected, because you don't have to be alone. You don't have to be at all. And I'm sure you would, say the same thing.
No, and that's right. And I guess you've got that choice though. You've got the choice, or hey, you can go to professional development, you can go on Twitter, you can go on the Facebook, you can source out some emails, some contacts. Once that's been given to you, but it's up to you to actually put into practice.
Yeah.
And that could be a big difference between a lot of PE teachers and teachers in general, that if they really want to continue to make a difference with their learning, with their teaching, hey, you've got to take that first step.
Yeah.
And once you're in that cycle, you won't get back out, because I joined Voxer last year, and I've got to give a shout out to Daniel Zito, who is another Aussie phys ed teacher. He got me onto it, and the notifications that we get every day and the chats that we come up every day is just unbelievable. And that's run by Andy Hare as well. And that's probably the best professional development that I get. And every day there's something new. Every hour there's something new. There's a new question that pops up. So you've got to be the one to say, yep, I'm in this. I'm in this for the right reasons, and I'm actually going to work hard so I can get something out of this.
For sure. I love that approach. And, leading on to obviously, how this eventually you got connected, where was the sort of point where you decided that technology and using that in your practice was something that you valued?
Yeah, good question. I probably started using technology towards the end of 2014. So the first 4 years of my teaching were very, I guess, old school. I wasn't really exposed to technology. I was just going in and out of my job, thinking, yep, doing a great job here. Kids are loving it. But I went to a PD that Bernie Holland and Andy Hare were running in Geelong called iPhysical, and I was blown away of what could be done in your classrooms with just a small use of technology. And so I sort of thought, I'll jump on board and I'll have a look. I joined Twitter, and I then was able to purchase an iPad, which was a start. And from there, I was able to just do some bit of research on the apps and what would work more with my students and how it would benefit for them. And from there on, I've, as you might see on Twitter, I can't live without it. I can't live without ICT, and the students expect it now in my class. They expect something to be wow in my class. And that doesn't say, you forget about the whole physical side of PE, but the challenge is how you can incorporate that technology side into PE. So, because we got to meet students halfway, because we must admit the students are on the devices. So how are we going to then incorporate that ICT and PE so then they can continue to build on their knowledge, their physical activity, and so on. And this year I recently started up a group at my new school called the PE Tech Group, and this is a group of 8 students from grades 3 to 6 who run the sessions on how using technology will benefit physical activity. So recently my students have just created some small flip learning, so they were able to post this onto our student drive, and then students were able to then complete the learning at home using technology and physical activity. So there's just amazing out there.
It's a rabbit hole, isn't it? Like once you go down it, then you're looking for opportunities. I think you've made a really good point about, it can be used to improve the physical activity outcomes that students have. I mean, it absolutely can be. If you're using it and it's detracting from those things, then it's quite possible that you're not using it for the right intents and purposes. And there's a million examples of what you can do. So what are your favorites? What are the things that you like to do?
I've recently, look, the assessment side of it and keeping my assessment tools, just checklist on iDoceo. That's just my number one favorite. It's a Bible for me and for a lot of teachers. I've recently found the love for Adobe. I went to the Teach Tech Play conference in Melbourne recently in April, and I was able to get hold of, I think his name's Tim Kitchen from Adobe, and the way he sort of explained the use of using these apps in Adobe and how they can really play a powerful role in student learning was amazing. But I can't go wrong with Coach's Eye. That was probably my number one source that I sort of lean on to, and amazing little things that you can do with Coach's Eye. The video delay. Yeah. That's a huge one for the students. Even just bits and pieces like Comic Life, to make posters, to engage students in that way. Adobe Spark. The list goes on. Endless things. But the most important bit is how do you use it effectively, and then you just don't use it because it's cool and it looks good on for yourself, but does it work for the students, and is there a point of using it properly?
Yeah, really good advice. And I love the also mention of, iDoceo and using that as your record. I mean, so many teachers in a phys ed sense just assume so much, but you can use it to capture real data and real evidence, and it becomes, like you said, your Bible, and you're not assuming anymore. You actually got some real evidence, and that's where the tool can be really powerful.
Absolutely. And that also you can use Google Forms. I know there's a few that keep assessments are using their Google Forms, Google Sheets, and I've got a little passion for the Google Forms and Sheets. I haven't used it as much as I probably could use it, but I use it more as a survey, or just for the students into school sports, what do they want to participate? So it's just easy to collect data as well.
Absolutely, and accessible to anyone. So, I mean, anyone can go and jump and create a form for free.
Absolutely.
And, there's no barrier for lots of the stuff that we're talking about now. So, I think that's the best part. I was recently in Africa working with teachers, and all the things that we were sharing, they all had access to. And I think that's a real exciting quality that we have these days. So, tech is great. I'm obviously a massive advocate and for it, but I'm also a massive advocate for, making mistakes. I think they're quite valuable for, us as teachers. Yes. So, I mean, can you think to any moments where you've gone to use something and with the tech, and hang on, this hasn't worked as well as I might have liked, or because mine's riddled with things of that. Does anything stick out for you?
Well, besides if you don't have internet connection, then you're, either your lesson's just gone, oh no, this is not working, let's go to backup. Just off the top of my head,
I think
if you don't have that engagement level with the students and you sort of plan it and you create something with the use of technology, and the students is just like looking at you like, what's that for? What's that mean? So I think, I can't really think of an episode in a way that something's happened, but I know there have been times where I think, oh, that wasn't, oh, I shouldn't have used that. That's just made it a bit more complicated, or time wasting as well. So it's more, you've got to get straight to the point. And that's where I like to use my Flip Learning a lot recently, where I can upload it to Student Drive. They can access that at home, and then they can complete the challenge. And I don't use the word homework at all. It's a challenge, and I use what's called active time. So they complete what needs to be completed with themselves and their family, so they can then share it with their family, and they know what they're learning in PE as well.
Yeah.
But I guess besides the internet connect, I don't think nothing yet.
I reckon you've mentioned a really important thing though, and it's you got to know the why and just that. Making sure that what you're doing has a real purpose. So I think that's the big message to come from that. And I like everything I look at. I've had situations like that too, where I've thought, hang on, why did I just do that? That was way more complex, or I've just added 10 extra steps to something for the sake of not much benefit. And but I mean, this is what we need to be doing. We need to be trying things and reflecting. And if you did it twice, then that's the issue. But if you make a mistake and then adapt, I think that's a really good quality. So I think we're on the same page there for sure.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Yeah, I mean, lots of things that we could talk about. I'm a real big advocate for tech and PE, and people like yourself doing amazing things, especially recently with the flipped learning stuff. So you want to just dive a little bit deeper into that? Like, the tool that they're using is, you said Student Drive. Is that a specific tool?
Yeah, so they're on our Student Drive is what's called Showbiz, so it's a digital portfolio for the students. So I upload my videos onto YouTube on my YouTube page, and then I just put the link there. Easy as that. Where the students in my PE Tech group, they save it onto their camera roll and they just upload it, and it's just so simple for them to do. The students get a real buzz out of it because then they're really proud of their efforts and their work. And the students who are watching it then think, oh, wow, what they're doing it, then I can do it.
Yeah.
So they look up to their peers and to see that it's not just Miss P doing it. It's actually they're driving parts of the lesson. And that's what the aim of the PE Tech group is, how can we collaborate together, and how can we like I said earlier, incorporate the ICT and PE with student-driven as well.
Yeah. So the PE Tech group, were they characteristic students in the group that had that leadership quality around those tools, or how did you decide on who they were?
There was a bit of a small application.
Okay.
It was more a sense of interest, who would be interested in participating, and commitment. So we have weekly meetings, like a lunchtime club, which goes for 20 minutes, and then they are set a small task for the week, and then they come back and we complete it. So it was more so who was more interested and who would show that commitment. So I had about 15 students, and then I just started with those 15 students, and then as the weeks went on, I had my students who were committed and said, yep, I want to do this. So I ended up with 8 students. And yeah, don't worry, they don't miss a meeting. They're at my office every Monday afternoon, tapping on the window if I've got my head down, like, oh, yeah, let's go, guys. So that just shows that they're really interested and they're keen, and they're keen to make a difference as much as I love to make a difference.
Yeah, I love that concept. Yeah. Such a powerful way to get buy-in from the students, and that flows on to their peers. So, I think that's a really, really cool approach. You're doing so many incredible things. We could talk forever. Where can people go and find out more about the stuff that you're doing if they want to connect?
Yeah, so just besides the ICT work, I love creating my gym into a visual gym, into a big classroom. And if you want to see the word wall, the goal settings, the behaviour management, you can go on to www.missphysicaleducation.com. You can follow me on Twitter at cpola17. YouTube page, you can just type in my full name, and that's it. Oh, actually, no, Facebook. I've started a Facebook page, Miss Physical Education. So I'm just trying to tap into all audience so no one misses out, because if I see someone liking it or sharing my idea, I can then see what they're doing. We're just making a difference for our student learning, and most importantly, it's, I'm not here just for myself. I'm here to just guide other teachers around the world.
Yeah, for sure. So many ways to connect. You really have no excuse to be able to connect in today's day and age. It's so easy. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Connect with the medium that makes sense to you. Go and check out the MissPhysicalEducation.com site. Have a look at all the things she's doing. Connect online with her, and continue the conversation. So thank you so much for jumping into this episode, and I look forward to speaking soon.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jared. Pleasure.
You're welcome. See ya.
Thank you.